Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god! Oh my god, yes!
Look up a rod! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Wash is down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 gets 3 with the primal rage.
Experience tranquility.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Tranquility, where we're finishing up this regular season with Thunderduckies versus Hammerhead. I am Lightrose, and joining me as the color caster is Karma, and we want to kind of jump right into this, but I think we want to explain, because there's definitely some things that we can really talk about with these two teams, how they've done in this stage and what they can kind of look forward to potentially going into playoffs.
Yeah, both these teams are basically headed into playoffs no matter what. If the Hammerheads win, they will be looking at the 3 seed, which will make them basically a spot in the winner's bracket, whereas Thunderduckies, they're hoping to not lose, preferably, where if they do lose, they'll be looking at that 7-8 seed in the lower bracket, where one loss and they're out of there.
Yeah, as Thunderduckies, they've had a so-so time in Overwatch 2, and Hammerheads, well, they did have the 4-0 forfeit with the map sheet. There was all that. They have had a much better time when it comes to the actual game itself, so hopefully we can kind of get really started in here, as the first map is going to be Oasis, a wonderful map that has the new kind of nighttime skyline, makes it prettier, and potentially to some makes it, maybe they want that daytime skyline back.
Yeah, I miss the daytime. It gives me that sort of nostalgia, it seems like, especially getting on after school and playing it. But this nighttime is beautiful. You can't deny that at all.
I think definitely on potentially the gardens side, that place is definitely the best, because you get to see all the cars zipping by, and it just, I like Oasis on night, but yeah, definitely has some pull when it comes to the day. As now we're getting readies, we're getting straight into this map, and well, we gotta get started somehow. As right now, you have to make a prediction based off of what you've seen. How do you think this is gonna go down?
I really hope Hammerheads are able to keep their streak going. They haven't lost a map since week 4, but I think Thunderduckies might have some fight with them. I think this is going to go to a map 5.
Yes, we'll see if that is going to be the inevitable takedown. But we've seen some Kiriko, like she has been eligible in competitive play in Tranquility. So what are your thoughts on her in the meta? Do you think we'll see her actually have any impact?
I think we will. She is a very high damage champion with that 3 times multiplier to the head. If you are accurate enough to get them, you will be able to actually kill the team. But I think you will see it a lot more, especially in these coming weeks, as teams are trying to experiment with her a lot more than the Baptiste, Ana, stuff like that.
And so now, get this one started off as well. We're going to have to hope that we can kind of figure out the composition, as we can right now only see... Yeah, but right now we can only see one half of the team's composition, but they do seem extremely similar. Still bringing out the Genji, the Sojourn. Overall, it is mostly a mirror comp, as already Nova taking a lot of damage. It is this red team taking the high ground. Thunderduckies having to fight for their spot, but a great boop is already, it just is going to be Hammerhead taking charge and really winning this fight off the bat. Not even too much time gone as well.
No, yeah, Thunderduckies are having that Baptiste, so that way they have that extra little bit of immortality. But with this sort of high ground, you have to be worried about that little bit of a splash zone right there. If you definitely face a Lucio and Nova, which got I think 1 or 2 boop kills off the map.
I'm wondering if this is like a it might be a visual bug, spectator bug, because this I don't think this is a setting that you can enable or
No.
unenable, because it is. Well, it is odd, so we're gonna have to take some pot shots with hoping how close some teams are at the ult charges. Oh, Stoicism getting dangerously low, but Zarya, being as strong as she is, able to take so much damage, and unfortunately, Synctra cannot do the same as Glimpse is gonna follow. So already, Hammerheads, they are just winning these fights cleanly, building up this ult charge and shutting down every single push.
Yeah, they're looking that they are that strong. They're looking that they've gone 4-0, you know, in so far in stage 2. Haven't dropped the map, been looking very, very strong so far.
Ult charge, I think we will have to see that Hammerheads have to have an advantage considering how much they have won these team fights, as Yummy Mac will be able to get that Kitsune Rush online, and how linear this corridor is, I am expecting that, but it's actually going to be the grab that goes off first. The Immortality Field is going to be able to save that Baptiste, and now it is going to be Thunderduckies. They do commit the beat drop, and it will be a fight win if Luna is able to get taken out. But Hammerheads, they try to fight their way back, but it's not going to be for much. As Thunderduckies, they have to commit a lot, but they survive for now.
Yeah, they did use that beat, which is going to look rough, especially with Dax having the blade, and with Kitsune Rush, it's going to do a lot of damage. You think the nano boost damage blade, you think all that stuff. People sleep on the Kitsune Rush damage blade. It's very, very difficult to deal with.
Well, I think this is definitely a good ult combo to use, as right now, Thunderduckies is going to have Luna just fire away through that Amp Matrix, as Dak does commit the blade and gets 2 with the beat drop as well, just to really secure it. So I think that they could have survived without the beat drop, but it's definitely a security ult.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, you need it. They did grab, so they probably just immediately were like, oh, hey, let's beat just that way we don't lose anybody. I think they lost 1, but even with that, you just use the beat just to make sure you win the fight.
All right, so using your mind, do we know what ultimates are going to be on the side of Thunderduckies? I think we've got the Amp Matrix. I
think they used Amp Matrix. I think they should have it, but I think they have the Overclock.
Oh, yeah. I think the overclock might be important on Thunderheads as Bruin goes down, and well, some other players will follow as well. Taco just making that archway an area of death as well. 100-39, 1 fight win for Thunderduckies, and overall Hammerheads just really a clean sweep.
Yeah, they're definitely showing that they are strong in this sort of stats as we're trying to fix it all. Yeah. But I think Thunderduckies did have the right sort of idea with that comp. They obviously are running the Baptiste, which looks like the sort of old meta, it seemed like, especially in Overwatch League the last few weeks. They sort of ran that Zarya Baptiste comp, where it's now sort of bleeding into the Kiriko because of her single target healing is really, really strong, especially with how fast you can refill the healing of Fudos.
Yeah, and Will Baptiste has that instant, he's able to simply press L shift and bam, he heals his team up 50, 100 HP. You're not going to get that with a lot of other supports. There is a small amount of time that Kiriko has to throw out her Ofudas, and it has to travel, and then it heals up. And depending on the distance between the two characters, you might have some lag in between there. As taking the high ground, Hammerheads, they are just going to assert dominance as Taco already dealing a lot of damage, almost 20% on their ult so far.
Yeah, which is very big, especially with that sort of, I call it the death ball, but I think it's called the disruptor shot. Hitting a lot of people there, it slows you down. It makes it so you take a lot of damage if you're standing in the middle of it.
Oh, Luna just hasn't had the same opportunity to really use that disruptor shot. As his Thunderduckies who actually get the first kill, Synctra doesn't get much healing, but they don't need it as they take out 2, almost 3, but it's Luna claiming that final blow. So now Thunderduckies, they didn't get the high ground, which some could consider essential on this site, but they win that fight regardless, despite really going down a lot and having to get pressured back.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's two different mindsets, it seems like. You take the high ground, you sometimes win the fight, but a lot of teams now have been taking that sort of low ground by the cars because you have all that natural cover right there. You're not just standing out in the open to get shot at. Yeah,
it makes the team have to actually push up beyond that central pillar into your line of sight. So I think it can be a good play as we're just having an all-out brawl on the point right now. There is going to be a casualty, and it's not on the side of Hammerhead, so they can continue forward with a lot less damage on their opponent's side. As now, well, Hammerheads have the Reaper. Taco swaps from the Sojourn. We'll have to see if that bears any fruit, and so far it does, as the amplification matrix is committed, and I think that might be a huge burden gone.
Yeah, that really is, especially with how it came out. It seemed like it came out super late on the side of Thunderduckies, which I don't know if that was just a miscue, maybe just a mispress. But you build that up so fast, so they should be able to get it within a fight again. But that could be almost like a team fight winning ultimate.
Yeah, so you have the Sojourn as well, who could just really pump so much damage in there. I think that's the one thing that the Amplification Matrix brings is the Baptiste. Grav is committed, and the Immortality Field is actually going to save this team, but not for long. The follow-up and the cleanup crew are right there, and well, it's actually not a clean death for this team. They kind of fall one after the other. We found it!
As we finally figured it out. So, okay, they had a lot more ults than I thought of, but hey, Thunderduckies do have this Grav, so I think this could be very big for them. But both sides have almost every single ult except one for the Baptiste and one for the Zarya on the side of Hammerheads.
Ooh, so there's gonna be a lot of commitments this fight, well, now the Kitsune Rush is gonna be committed, and here comes the blade. Dax is able to swing so much faster. You can see they are slashing and dashing, but on the other side, you've got Bruin, who's still fighting, and everybody else who hasn't committed an ultimate, like Singtra. And well, it's Thunderduckies who find their way back towards the point with an advantage, with the Grav in their pocket, along with that overclock. So this is a huge fight win because they still have game-winning ultimates in their pocket.
Yeah, one thing that they did use was Glimpse use the beat there to keep them alive, and it really did help. So they had that immortality, they had that beat, so you had to go through all of that to be able to go through it, and at the end you just end up just having to back away and turn, and Thunderduckies were able to turn the fight.
Yeah, I think Nova's beat drop is going to be obviously the hard counter, but who knows? There could be enough damage with Luna's overclock, with just how much raw damage Thunderduckies actually have to push through. But Taco gets grabbed, and I think that could be a potential mistake, as already you had Glimpse down, as Stoicism did commit the grab, but it's just cleanup right now. 93-94. It will be Hammerheads winning out this fight, and still a decent amount of ultimates in the pocket of Thunderduckies that they really wish they had used as well. It's just a lone wrecking ball trying to test out this point, who's not going to last very long.
Yeah, you know Luna was probably punching themselves because they did have that overclock. But at the end, Hammerheads just came out on top, showed that they're very strong with these sort of maps, and are showing why they're 4-0 throughout this stage.
And well, they continue their streak, as we're gonna have Stoicism just get that nice little play of the game. The Grav is such an influential ultimate, and with well how strong Zarya is, it's just the double beat down combo. It's hard to really fight unless you have that beat drop, have that transcendence. It's so essential to bring a Lucio or a Zenyatta. But that was map 1. We have to go now to hybrid. So Thunderduckies have the choice of where they want to go, but what do you think could be swapped out for them when it comes to, you know, positioning, when it comes to ultimate usage? What needs to change for this team?
Personally, this is one thing that I feel like a lot of people do, is they hold on to their overclock really well. You saw it with Luna, they held it on a lot to the very end with both maps on Oasis. Use it. I feel like you got to use it sort of right away. You got to have that advantage because it is a one-shot headshot. Basically, and you get the railgun shot very, very fast with it. I think stuff like that you got to just sort of pop right away, because it's one of those ultimates where you can get it very, very fast, and if you use it right away, you can get more of them throughout the map.
Yeah, I mean, Sojourn can put out so much damage as well that she's really able to get that overclock a lot throughout the map. It feels like a lot more than some of these other characters, but I mean, Sojourn is a little little broken right now with the ability to one-shot headshot, so we might see her get tuned in the balance patches along with our friends Genji and Sombra, who we haven't seen a Sombra in this series so far, but I wouldn't be surprised if she kind of snakes her way towards these maps, as we're still figuring out where we are going to be headed. Because right now, that second map is going to be pretty important, because Hammerhead going to halftime up 2-0 is kind of puts Thunderduckies against the wall.
Yeah, it really does, and especially when there is a best of 5 and you only really need to win 3 maps, it needs to be the turning point for Thunderduckies, as it looks like I think we're headed to Midtown, I believe, which Midtown is a very interesting map. It has that train section, especially at first point. It has that train section. It has that underneath where you can just basically run to point, and it's very difficult to defend on point 1 at least.
Yeah, well, some teams, if they start on defense, they get a good hold that can kind of springboard them into the rest of the map. So we're going to have to see how that actually happens. And I think who actually starts on the defense is going to be an important factor. So we'll have to see what happens once we actually, get into the map. What are your thoughts on Midtown itself? I want to know.
Personally, I'm just going to speak this from personal points. I do not think I have won on this map at all. In quick play, competitive, scrims, matches, I don't think I've won at this game I don't think I've won at this map at all. It's one of those maps where it's very, very difficult. It's almost like a Gibraltar, almost, where you want to take that high ground. You want to have somebody moving the point, but it's very difficult. You got to figure out who's going to be the right person to do so. And one thing I've personally learned that I've really liked running in this comp is just running that May, where you can just wall off the bottom. You can wall off the top, wall off wherever they are going, and just focus on them. But it doesn't look like we'll be seeing it. But come on, Dax, you need to do it.
The new hero in the game. Never before seen. Bastion? I've never heard of that before.
Never heard of him. I did see before that he didn't have a hat, but now he has a hat. So, whole new character.
I would just love that if they would update like all the character models from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, but the only difference with them, they just gave everybody a hat.
They need to. That's the number one thing that they need to do. Just give them a skin with just a hat. It's just their old skin with just a tiny little hat matching their outfit.
Overwatch 3 coming to stores near you. Everybody gets a hat. Yeah, we'll see if that happens, but just so quick rushing through the bottom of the train. It is Hammerheads who are just really not really dealing with these Thunderduckies. They are taking the long way around, just kind of zipping through. But that disruptor shot might put a little dent. Well, Luna's headshot will do that for sure, as it takes down a huge source of damage, Taco, who had a wonderful first map, and now Luna's just able to stay back, fire onto the team without much pressure.
Yeah, and especially holding this really advantageous high ground too, where they're just able to shoot at Thunderduckies that are standing on the point, basically free firing because of all the natural cover up top.
Yeah, well, the team is still committing as well. They're going to have to have their friend join them, but it might be a mistake in the end as Yummy Mac falls. Lucio might not be far behind, but Taco and Dax start to turn things around. They drop 2 players, and now a third is going to follow. So despite losing 1-2 players at the beginning, DPS are just a real strong source for this team.
Yeah, it really is. Dax is showing that sort of damage that they can do with the Genji, with just the right clicks and the dashes through basically any squishy.
Genji, his right click and dash is a source of concern for some who find him just a little bit annoying. I say as a support main, I do have to second that, but I think Sleepy G having to deploy that immortality field, having to use that left shift a lot, Genji will probably be their worst nightmare as well. Now, still just trying to pepper some damage in on both sides. It's Hammerhead just really taking an advantage. Stoicism from the top rope, tries to apply a lot of damage, and Bruno almost gets caught out of position, as Taco now has rotated all the way almost to where the card should be pushing. And well, the Hammerheads, they are just continuing to really fire onto this team. No kills on either side just yet, as Hammerheads not really having any problems staying back, just firing on top of the car wash, knowing that they really don't have to fight on this high ground. It's gonna have to be Thunderduckies who truly have to come in, but Singtra is fully charged, and with that healing, you're not gonna be able to take them out. But Dax's blade could change things for the worst for Thunderduckies team. He chases Glimpse, but cannot get the kill. And now it's back and forth so far as it's still Hammerheads who are able to push the cart, but I don't know if it's going to be for much longer.
No, I think both of the supports for the side of Hammerheads died at the beginning of the fight, but it is a very good spot to sort of have it there, I guess, especially for Thunderduckies, because if Sintra doesn't die here, hopefully. Oh, that's not good for the side of Thunderduckies.
What that felt like the fight ended, and then like 2 seconds later it just started right back. Like there wasn't a full regroup, and then all of a sudden we just cut to Taco. We look in the kill feed. Oh, that's 2 kills. Oh, that's Sintra ending their own life. As now just so many ultimates on the field. It's going to be Stoicism, Nova, Glimpse, Bruin, everybody committing ultimates in this moment. And right now it's a 4v4 anybody's game in this current situation, but Bruin's full HP is going to be depleted to 0, and now this means that Thunderduckies have a much more difficult time at taking this out. But Kiriko could fall, but that jump is going to be able to save them, give that immortality that they need for just a small second, and that will be enough to give Hammerheads the second point with so much time in the clock. Well, not just yet, as things now have started to change for potentially the worst, but Yummy Mac does commit that Kitsune rush. Probably wouldn't have wanted to, but now as more players from the side of Thunderduckies are joining towards the cart, it is needed. And well, and hopefully now, as we are going to take a little bit more time, Luna will fall and the cart will get to that first checkpoint.
Yeah, with that spawn being right there too, with the amount of sort of people that could just jump over that little wall, you can contest that point for a very long time that we just saw. But yeah, it definitely just seems like that Thunderduckies are just sort of on the back foot right now. They aren't able to, they were able to win a fight, but then they just lost it right away, like a second later. So who knows what is going on in that VC that is on the side of Thunderduckies.
Yeah, I think the inability to hold on to any position that they have, like you win a fight and then seconds later it just kind of falls from you. I think that is definitely a problem to watch out for.
Yeah. Sleepy G.
I mean, it's the supports you least expect. Baptiste is able to put out a consistent amount of damage, and as more players from the sides of Hammerhead fall, they have a lot of time on the clock that they can build up these ultimates. Hammerheads already have a lot in the pocket. They have the blade, they have the beat drop, and now Stoicism and Taco will be able to get their ultimate online. So I think we're due in part for a 4-5 ultimate duel on both sides.
Yeah, and especially since Glimpse doesn't have the beat drop for the side of Thunderduckies, they're probably hoping that they can get it back very, very fast. Especially with Dax having the sort of free blade almost half the time, it seems like. Especially because Sleepy G only has that immortality field.
Yeah, well, the Amp Matrix is actually committed, and Singtra uses that grab, and Stoicism, along with the Amplification Matrix, is not lasting long, so not a lot of commitment right there from Thunderduckies, but it really does work out. I think the grab, you take out your tank, you still leave Bruin with that blade, and you allow Glimpse to actually get the beat drop just before Stoicism gets the grab.
Yeah, especially with, they were sort of able to run away from the Ant Matrix of Sleepy G's. The graph just sort of pulled them right back. They're like, oh, you're not going anywhere.
Oh, here comes that blade from Dax. You mentioned that a lot of times they had a free one, and it seems that he's going to follow once again, as right now that main heal is gone, but Luna up on the top area is going to be able to immediately equal that out and take out the top source of damage for the side of Hammerheads. And the second one going to fall. Dax stays alive with really no healing at their back. Yummy Mac is gone, and Nova just cannot consistently put out single target healing, but so far, Hammerheads are still alive, and while with Stoicism step, they will officially fall. So now with a minute 20 left, it's starting to get a little dire.
Yeah, the one thing that worries me though is that Glimpse used the beat there, not realizing that Stoicism has that grab, Taco has that overclock, and Yummy Mac is coming up with the Kitsune rush. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them to stay alive throughout basically three ultimates in this upcoming fight, it seems like.
I am quaking at the thought of Yummy Mac's Kitsune Rush with Taco's overclock, but right now it's not needed, but will be committed nonetheless, as it's just two Zaryas, two Titans dueling each other. Whoa. Well, Luna isn't going to have much help there, as their overclock is shut down by Luna, who doesn't even need to use that overclock. So despite the amount of ultimates used, grab, overclock, no progress.
No, but they did keep that Kitsune Rush, which I'm very, very glad for. You realize that the fight was basically lost, so you didn't use it. Taco does swap to this Reaper, which could be very, very good, especially with the damage output that they can get with the Kitsune Rush.
I mean, the Reaper swap at the last second. We'll have to see if Taco actually gets any usage of that. As they're teleporting off, I think the goal is definitely to pressure the DPS off. But Kitsune Rush is going to be getting some usage on the top area just for a brief second. As Singtra is the target of focus, their bubble is going to be bursted through. But surviving off of the immortality field eventually gets taken down. And now that's just going to allow the rest of this team to fall onto the remaining supports, the one remaining DPS as well. But Bruin gets a kill for his troubles. That's not going to be all for naught, but depends on how quick Taco is with that Wraith form. If they can just quickly speed back onto the card, it is going to be one final overtime fight.
Yeah, but they do have the Grav Blade, so I'm expecting this to be hopefully huge for them.
Yeah, Glimpse doesn't have 96%. Can they get it in time? No, they can't. Two fall for third as well. And Glimpse can use the beat drop if they want, but it's not going to get any usage. Well, a little bit late, and unfortunately, it is going to be Hammerheads who don't reach all the way. So a good hold on third point for Thunderduckies.
Yeah, and third point is actually one of the maps. I only talked about really first point, but third point, it seems like it's very much so like the Route 66, where if you're able to cap it all the way, you were amazing with it. If you only cap it like a part of the way, you're still fine. Third point on this map, it seems like it's very, very difficult to push, especially with all the high ground capabilities that the defense has.
I think getting around these, I guess the third corner is what you call when you're officially by the train, is probably a signifier of success, because funneling down that area is difficult to do for sure.
Yeah, it's especially if you do push it past that in your first push, and then defense can just stand on the high ground and just shoot you for free while you're trying to get to the point. It's so disheartening, it seems like half the time.
Oh, we got it. I want to see it for sure. Taco is on the Sombra. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back on the Sojourn, because Taco Sojourn has just been lights out. I mean, Luna has been done a wonderful job at shutting him down, but right now I think Taco is winning the Sojourn battle so far, because consistently with their Disruptor shot, they are outputting so much damage.
Yeah, they're definitely putting out a lot of damage, but I think the Sombra here on the defense is a really good scouting tool, especially if you don't know where they are going to start off with. As we see them, they're going the back way. I love this sort of back alleyway that Thunderduckies is going down.
I mean, it works if you don't get spotted.
Yeah, if you don't have Sombra sitting in your backline right now.
Yeah, there's an active CCTV camera in the back line. And, well, Taco is going to reveal themselves. This isn't going to do too much but provide some burst fire, as I think that the intel is probably the biggest thing, and that allows the rotate for Hammerheads, and it allows one casualty of Sleepy G. Dax isn't going to last very long, but I think the overall team fight is the more important thing. That's going to allow any other stragglers on the side of Hammerhead to just walk their way back with some leisurely paces. No, you can't go the same way for sure. So what's the next plan?
Personally, I would still try to go underneath, because I don't like going through that train alleyway, especially since you're just going to be fighting him in a very condensed spot where Zario right click will hit your entire team no matter what. So maybe go down the back way and just try to take the fight near the fire truck. But let's see.
Yeah, it seems that they are still committing towards the area that Hammerhead's tried to do, but it's just Taco in the back line. They are the biggest nuisance that Thunderduckies will have to deal with at some point, because EMP can be a round-ending ultimate just by itself. The Zaryas are going to start to battle, but Glimpse off-screen just gets taken out, and now you lose a lot of AoE healing, a lot of speed, as Dax is just going to start cleaning up these players. It's just the fire department that is an area of death so far for Thunderduckies, and they had a good third point hold, but they need to have a good first point attack to get this one started off.
Yeah, and you're seeing how difficult it is, because there is a lot of ways that you can go, but there's only really one main way that seems like to be the most popular, which is underneath, going towards that fire station and just taking that sort of natural cover and taking the high ground away from them. Ooh.
Luna. They have been a great way to start this fight for Thunderduckies. And there we go. As Hammerheads, I believe, missed the grab. Stoicism is going to be wanting that one back, as this should be with Luna's second kill of this fight so far. Thunderduckies taking this point as long as they can contain the rest of the stragglers coming from this defensive spawn point.
Yeah, as well as even that way, but they do have the EMP to can hold it on.
Oh, and Luna just cannot survive on the high ground, and that's going to be a huge source of damage. Gone. Sleepy G immediately takes their place, and now is just going to start firing away. They get one. Will they be able to get a second? It doesn't matter, because Bruin over in the fire department is going to be doing the job anyways. Despite being on 5-10 health, they clean it up and will secure the first point.
Yeah, which that's a very good. Luna basically just won them that point right there, getting that early kill onto Taco with PTSD because they had that EMP. EMP right there, the game is basically a match set over. Obviously, Stoicism missed the grab, but that kill onto the Sombra is huge for Thunderduckies right here.
Yeah, because you have that large damage boost, but Taco's not going to be getting that. No hack targets in their vicinity, as Bruin is going to be taking out Nova. Only one kill, but honestly enough for Thunderduckies to actually continue the push, and now Taco gets punished hardcore, and you have to wonder whether or not the Sojourn swap is going to come through. His first point is gone, but it seems that Taco is going to be committing to the Sombra. EMP is a powerful tool, but there's less of a target to actually deal with Luna.
Yeah, especially now that Thunderduckies have this high ground too, it's going to be very difficult for Hammerheads to try to regain control, as we've seen Nova try to just go for a nice little play, but just misses completely.
Yeah, now that is just going to allow the card to continue rolling. And, well, everybody gets caught in the underground. And all Synctra needs to do is just hold left click, survive against that Genji. And that's exactly what Thunderduckies are able to do. It seems that just first point has been the trouble for them so far. I think second point is going even better than Hammerheads.
Yeah, second point just seems to be basically, they're just like not stopping. They obviously they stop a little bit to get off the point, but Thunderduckies just seem to be being perfect with it.
Well, Luna has been a source of large damage for the side of Thunderduckies, and now that is gone. There's going to be dueling bead drops, as now Dax isn't going to be able to put out so much damage, and the blade ends up with exactly a goose egg. Taco ends up finding the healer, and now Glimpse and everybody else is going to have to push back, but Synctra just being a little bit delayed to the spawn room.
Yeah, Luna was a little bit too far, in my opinion. I don't like having that, especially with how close that spawn is. I think a lot of people forget that it's literally right behind a wall, so it's basically right there. But they do have this overclock and the window coming up on the side of Thunderducky, so I can see them comboing that to try to win this point, basically.
And, well, yeah, EMP... That's the thing, is does Stoicism want to combo with the EMP? I think you can still commit the EMP while also saving all these EMPs, because now, well, there goes a main, really a problematic tank that some might consider. Zarya gone, Baptiste as well, and now Dax actually reflects the overclock back at Luna. So 50 seconds left. It felt like that first point was really a struggle, and now that's going to come back to haunt Thunderduckies.
Yeah, especially now with this point being sort of starting to move back, and Hammerhead having the graviton surge, it's gonna be, you have to win this fight or else it's map set point basically.
Not a lot on the side of Thunderduckies. Yeah, that Matrix can be a good ultimate, but it's not one that you're going to probably win a fight on. And with Luna gone, there's a grab that should end this fight, because Glimpse is far gone from a beat drop. So with 14 seconds left, there's nobody alive. Luna is going to have to be the person to touch. And even then, they might get caught out and shot down. So the chances of winning this map are on a single thread.
Yeah, and it looks like they're not even going to be able to touch, which is unfortunate, especially with how strong their second push seemed to be going.
Once again, I said it earlier, their first point. I think they took 2 minutes, minute and a half, so much longer than Hammerheads, that despite their initial second point push being a lot better, just the stall from Hammerheads, they were able to waste so much more time, and that was the real problem.
Yeah, it really was, especially with having that Sombra, which we were sort of questioning is Taco or yeah, is Taco going to swap back to the Sojourn? But having that sort of vision, which is something that you completely forget about when you're playing that Sombra, is having that CCTV footage, as you said, just being able to just look at them and watch where they're going. It's such valuable pieces of information that even though Sombra is strong, that vision that you get with her is 10 times as stronger that you can get, because if you don't know where they're going, how are you going to prepare for it?
And so Hammerheads, they are inches away from securing a great spot in playoffs, getting that 3rd seed and securing a position in the winners bracket. And Thunderduckies, I mentioned that if they were going to go down 0-2, their backs were going to be against the walls. So it's going to be up to them to know how they respond. As the 3rd map, we've got halftime, a 10-minute break, as we will be heading to there. And once we get back from that, we will be back with more Tranquility Overwatch action.
You don't need an invitation. I already know what you're saying. I love a little conversations. And I don't want you to go changing. Cause girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. I hope that you just feel it all too. Cause girl, you're comfortable, let's go. Feels so good just when I roll through. And I just think it's so crazy what you do to me. Girl, you're the baddest thing, you know that. And I really need you to show it. So turn around, let me get you on the cold. Situation. We don't spend time hesitating. And I wouldn't say we're crazy in love. I would just say we're crazy enough. Cause girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. You just feel it all too. Cause girl, you're comfortable, let's go. Feel so good just when I roll through. And I just think it's so crazy what you do to me. Girl, you're the baddest thing, you know that. And I really need you to show it. So turn around, let me get you on the cold air. Slow it down. Jeans on when we hit the town. We don't really care who's around. But baby, I'm with you if you gon' be down. Cause girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. You just feel it out, you're just so comfortable. Cause girl, you're comfortable, it just feels so good just when I roll through. And I just think it's so crazy what you do to me. Girl, you're the baddest thing, you know that. It's true. And I really need you to show it. So turn around, let me catch you on the cold air. I don't know what you do. Yeah, let me get you on a Kodak.
Well, we have returned from what felt like the ages-long break. We are back with Thunderduckies in Hammerhead. It is Hammerhead up 2-0, and they are knocking on the door of victory. I am Light Rose, and joining me is Karma, and kind of run us through what's been going on so far.
Basically, Hammerheads they're the team that we knew that they were. Thunderduckies, I'm just saying it lightly too. Thunderduckies has had some very, very good moments. I'm not going to deny them of that. that second point where they almost capped it all the way. They did have some miscues. They've been looking good. They've been looking pretty good, and they look like they can beat some teams. But Hammerheads is on a whole nother level. And I'm not denying that. They just look like world beaters out there, it seems like.
Yeah, I think the player that's always going to stand out for me on the side of Thunderduckies is going to be Luna, because they showed up in the kill feed. That's always going to be for a lot of people watching that, oh, this is the signifier of success, is that this person constantly got kills. Well, Luna got headshots, and those aren't just kind of picking off people who may be low. No, those are Sojourn Railgun headshots that are earned as well. So I think Luna and Taco going back and forth is definitely a story to watch. But now as we're heading to the third map, it's going to be Route 66, Karma.
Yeah, Route 66 is one of the OG maps. Always loves. It always seems like that it has that sort of weird portion in the community where it's loved, it's hated. People don't like it. People love it. It's a very weird map, and I think in Overwatch 2 it sort of signifies that even more, especially having that sort of gas station high ground after first point, second point having to weave through some multiple different high grounds, and then a very difficult third point, like we were talking about with Midtown. It sort of lines it up perfectly where third town and midpoint, I was comparing it to Route 66. Well, you're going to see it now. You're going to see this very long sight line with the truck in the background. It's going to be very, very difficult for teams on attacking side to be able to push it through.
I think this is something that could be described for Route 66 is open yet cramped. You always feel like there's so much map space that you can use, but you always kind of have to funnel into these really small areas where, whether it's the road that the payload is going down, whether it is, you know, trying to go by that mega on third point that's by the truck. There's so many small areas that you can have these duels that are just cramped, tiny, claustrophobic spaces that lead up to the bigger duel that is most of these giant fights on Route 66.
Yeah, not to mention the amount of doorways that are in this map. They're like 1 to 2 people wide. You go through these and they're, especially like you see them on first point, you have 4. Second point, you have 4. Third point, you have like 2 that you can really go through. So there's very tiny, like sort of doorways that you need to go through to be able to get to the point. And one disruptor shot, one Zarya right click, one nade, you can just basically make it so one push is done for the entire thing.
And I think now we're starting to get ours in the lobby, starting to get, hopefully, the game headed on. As I think we were just having some players, maybe they had to go to the bathroom, maybe they had to get a drink of water, as I know I had to get a drink of water. Staying hydrated, this is a PSA. Staying hydrated, it's an important part of gaming. Do that. Go drink some water right now. We're in the beginning of the map. You got 40 seconds. Go get a drink of water.
Water's definitely needed. I need to get some. I should have gotten some water during halftime, but I was too busy just chilling on my phone the entire time, which is the gamer sort of way.
10 minutes to work. Come on.
Hey! I'm here. I don't want to go out there and rile up some animals,
That's
or else
true.
you'll hear barking right now. So.
Yeah, well, interesting changes, and this might be because of the map, but there is a largely different comp than what we are used to. We're bringing out an Ana, a Brig. The only similar character that we have seen is Sombra, and otherwise it is just a lot of dive-centric heroes.
Yeah, which I really like this. I like playing Iana. Ana's my favorite hero. But it is a very comfortable comp for Route 66. You have that dive. You can go to the other high grounds. You can sort of disrupt a lot of people, especially with having the rig whip shot, it seems like.
Yeah, whip shot can be a very powerful ability. 4-second cooldown as well. Can give a burst of healing, can be a source of damage. There's a lot to work with there, but you don't have that good damage that you might have with somebody like a Sojourn. Taco takes a lot of damage, but Bruin is actually the first player to go down, and now there isn't really anybody going to pepper the backline on the side of Thunderduckies. It's mostly going to have to be Sintra, who just constantly keeps a lot of these players away. And as a Winston, well, you don't really do much damage, so you're not going to be able to do a lot of that. So now as teams are starting to push toward the gas station, it's going to be Sintra who's jumping in and out. But now as a healer, he's going to be gone on the side of Thunderduckies. There isn't much that they can do besides maybe haggle in a kill here and there. And that's what Luna's going to do, but not without a little death of their own.
Yeah, and the one thing, too, that I really like about the Winston's new changes, he's got a shorter jump timer. I think it's like 4 seconds right now, 4 or 5 seconds. So you are able to get in and out a lot quicker than what you used to in Overwatch 1.
But now Sleepy G's actually caught in the back with a little bit of duel as Nova. So both Syndra and Bruin don't have any healing to work with. They only have the Mega. So that is going to allow the Zarya, who does just a little bit more damage than a Winston, to really take away those two characters. But there's actually a duel left in the back of this gas station. It's still Hammerheads who get the victory, as Luna's just going to take the timer down. Maybe a couple more seconds, but really not much more than that. So overall, I think it's a very messy point for Thunderduckies. It's not over yet, but they're not going to come away with a victory, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it is a very messy, as we see Syndra pop the Primal Rage, just try to get everybody away from the point, but this is a very, very messy fight for the side of Thunderduckies.
Well, things could have changed as well. The ante could be a signifier, but Sleepy G just cannot get the last shot, and now they are actually going to pay for it. The Pulse Bomb goes out, but a great Suzu just keeps that Zarya alive for now, and now the Beach Drop will give them more health to work with. There still is the Kitsune Rush, but Yummy Mac doesn't want to commit every single ultimate known to man right now in this one singular fight. The Beach Drop is going to be used to counter the overclock, but Taco doesn't have any pressure. They can just sit up on this high ground, fire away, and that disruptor shot can just coat the entire cart with particles, atoms, whatever the disruptor shot is made of.
Yeah, it's very, very overpowered in some instances, especially when you don't have anybody sort of disrupting you or sort of just trying to annoy you as much as you can. You're gonna hit those shots, and we've seen it before with Taco hitting those shots when there are people in his face. So it's gonna be very, very easy for him to hit it when there's nobody around him.
Oh, that was a lovely dive onto Taco. An actual punish as well, because Taco, being on that Sojourn, can kind of give you a big head. If you constantly are getting these railgun headshots, then maybe you just want to extend just a little bit farther. But now they get punished, and Destin has to actually commit the grab just to keep these players off of them. And that might end up being a mistake, because now one of these healers is gone, and now a nanoed Winston is a lot scarier than a regular Winston. So much health, so much damage. But suddenly, despite that massive gorilla in that backline, it is still going to be Hammerheads getting 1, 2, 3, 4 and pushing this cart.
Yeah, and that's a really good use by Destin too, using that sort of grab to sort of get Syndra away from everybody and just try to focus him. They were able to sort of turn the tide. They got sleepy, and then they were just turning the tide and get Syndra, who was just sort of in the backline, the last person alive, trying to get out.
Interesting. Dax actually has to go onto the Tracer now. So away from their usual pick, but oh, the Pulse Bomb goes wide. They actually almost end their own life with it, but have to recall out of it. So far, the damage just hasn't been enough to keep away a lot of the tanks, a lot of the supports, as it is still Syndra who's able to just push a lot of these players back. But Destin is the target that a lot of these players really need to focus on. They are in the supports. They are in right in their faces, along with the assistance of Yummy Max. So Synchro's just going to have to do a little backup duty cleanup as well, and actually has to commit the Primal Rage just to waste some time, potentially get an Elim or two here. But Sojourn, so tanky with the healing, is still alive. She's able to put in that damage, but there it is. It's Syndra and Brewing getting one of their own, and it is just Thunderduckies keeping away the Hammerheads from the second checkpoint for now.
Yeah, and that was a really good play by Synchro, using that Primal Rage to try to just disrupt everybody, and was able to do so. They were able to make it so that Luna and Bruin, and even Synchro too, could focus on that one target that's just sort of getting juggled, and were able to turn the fight because of it.
Look at the ultimates though, Karma. Like, Luna, I think they're gonna keep the timer down, like maybe 20 more seconds. But there is such a disparity in ultimates. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it really is. But that pick with Taco onto Taco is going to be really good, because now they're sort of setting up. They're trying to see where they're going. Obviously, Hammerheads is headed to the sort of dark alleyway that people like to call it, and they're going to use the grab as well under one.
Huh. Yeah, now Syndra actually gets out. There isn't going to be any nano or anything like that, but so much commitment, and potentially too much, because Syndra, I think, getting out kind of put this team in potentially a panic mode, because they committed a large ultimate, light grab, on one singular person. They got away, so might as well just do a little too much damage in the end, as they should push it all the way. And with 30 seconds left, they will get the last time, but no, there's Sintra, there's the Nano, and the Beat Drop, as it is going to be 2 trades, making it a 4v4. But as Taco gets slept up on the high ground, that could be Signifier, but there's Nova with a wonderful beat, saving the Sojourn, and this keeps the fight alive. Dax ending up with a Pulse Bomb onto Anna, and there's no more heals on the side of Hammerhead. Bruin actually commits the EMP, but it might all be for naught. But the low health on the side of Hammerhead, I think that could be enough to actually stave away a lot of these players. He gets off the cart.
Yeah. Good old letter number. There's nothing you can really do about it. You could see Synchro thinking about like sort of standing on the cart, but then that little bit of greed came after him, seeing those 2 low health targets with a little monkey jump and a monkey punch you could get him. But at the end of the day, you have to stay on the cart to be able to win the game.
Do you think like it is still worth it to be on the Winston in an area like this, especially when Destin is on the grab, or is on the Zarya? It feels like Winston isn't gonna get as much value, so we'll have to see if there is anything that actually comes of it.
Oh, yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we do see them swapping over to the sort of the comp that they were running before, the BAP and the Zarya. But I think they're just they're waiting for it to sort of be able to win a fight and be able to actually swap before they can do it.
Yeah, but there's not much space between victory, and there's only 30 seconds left, so Yummy Mac and Sleepy are going to actually get traded, so there's a lot less heals on both sides. Every single source of damage is going to be a lot more impactful. Pulse Bomb goes out, and Destin's Bubble just runs out at the last second. So now Thunderduckies, despite what some could say a lack of a true tank counter to that Zarya, they are actually going to be able to stay alive with 10 seconds left if they can keep this team off the point, which I think now might be impossible, considering that we do see a Dax in the back line. They will be able to get a touch, so now we are in overtime, and now that overclock and grab are going to be able to be committed. So what is going to be the first death? That is going to be a huge signifier where this will go. Sleepy G gets pulsed from. They ever actually stay alive, but in the corner, we are seeing a couple trades go through. Sleepy G does get eventually punished by just standing still just a little bit too long. The beat drop keeps this team alive a little bit longer, but I don't think it's going to be for an extended period of time, especially now as Nova does let that beat drop. The EMP, not close enough in that area, as it will be an overtime last second push.
Yeah, which again, this map is very, very long, like you were saying before. It's very, very open, but very, very cluttered, it seems like. But you gotta look back at the end of point 2 and maybe think, what if Synchro didn't jump off that point there? What if they just sort of stood onto it, waited for their supports to come back and help them with it? But who knows? Again, that's the thing of the past right now.
I think this is kind of something that's happened overall, is that it feels like Thunderduckies have something, but Hammerheads are just way too strong of a team to overcome anything Thunderduckies bring to the table. Yeah,
no, definitely. I have to agree with that completely, because you're seeing these great plays from Luna, from Bruin, even from Synchro, even from Sleepy too, who's somebody that is a support player. Obviously, doesn't get the light shine on them as much, but you've been seeing them make plays. You've been seeing them try winning these fights one after another. But Hammerheads just seem to just come back with that little bit extra punch. They just have that little bit extra weight to them, where they're just getting that knockout blow. It seems like almost every single fight.
So I think Sintra on the Winston, though, there is something there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sintra's Winston's good.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to watch. Not just a mirror comp, especially on this map, having that sort of monkey come in as our producers are telling us to go away, but it's very fun watching the sort of the Winston playstyle, especially in Overwatch 2. With having that sort of sniper monkey getting in, getting out, sort of having that sort of different playstyle that you saw from Overwatch 1.
Yeah, Sniper Monkey is my favorite Bloons tower, so maybe we'll get to see more of that in action. As Sleepy G on the Kiriko, I think that's going to be a lot more beneficial, because now you can jump with the Winston, provide a lot more healing as well, potentially more damage. So there's going to be a trade-off, but Sleepy G just has to jump right on and almost dies, and Dax gets a 1-2 punch, or some could say a 1-2 dash, and 30 seconds in that push is really all for naught.
Yeah, that was bad in my opinion because Glimpse sort of went in. They were looking. I think they were looking for that sort of. I think they almost had a pick on somebody, but they just went a little bit too far. And that's sort of what you can sort of see from Thunderduckies this whole time. They're just a little bit too aggressive. Just this little tiny bit. They can rein that in just a little bit more for the rest of this map. Then who knows? They could come out with map 5 victory.
Oh, you saw the hack onto the player and just bam, turned on him immediately. Bruin just doesn't have the translocator out, so they actually get punished. But ooh, almost multiple deaths for one. Singtra just cannot burst through that Suzu. It does give you immortality just for a brief second. And Dax, well, they're just doing Dax things off screen, getting dashes, getting slashes, hitting right clicks. I feel like Thunderduckies are kind of scrambling right now.
Yeah, you could definitely see that, especially with the swap back over to the Sojourn for Luna. Going back to what it seems like almost to be the comfort pick for them.
Another player falling. Glimpse just hitting 50% on a beat drop. Nova 64, so I think the ultimates really are going to be the telltale sign of how this is going. There's been one kill? I don't even know if there's been a kill on the side of Thunderduckies this entire half.
I think they got Taco once, maybe. But even with that, this is what this can do to you. Having those two maps going down 0-2 and sort of losing that sort of faith in yourself will do, especially after letting them cap all the way to 0.3. You're just looking at this and be like, okay, what can we do differently? Okay, we're trying a different comp. It doesn't work. Now you're just left scrambling for answers.
So halfway through this round, Sintra will go onto the Zarya for the first time. They have been on Winston this entire time, and now we'll be able to start building the crowd, but there's still a massive ult disparity, and I think that might be the bookmark on this really one-sided affair that we have seen so far. The Kitsune Rush trying to keep this team alive as Dax is just going to start continuing to burst through this team. Luna and Bruin are going to be going down, and Synctral Zarya just doesn't have the charge to take out a jumping Dax, and Sleepy T just retreats into the spawn room, potential safety, but 3 still on the board.
Yeah, and I think that was the first ult that Thunderduckies has even gotten in this entire fight. They haven't gotten a single ultimate, and they use it with that. Like, it just seems like that this is the one map where it officially looks like my brain is fried right now. Hammerhead is looking just unstoppable at.
Ooh, and well, Luna's gone, and now that means that Taco is free to overclock. Sleepy has to command that Suzu and the beat drop, as well as you actually do see Taco and Destined use the overclock and that gravitic flux. So not the gravitic flux, like that's Sigma's forte, but it doesn't even matter. Black holes, they bring you in, and that's where Destined really wants to keep you. As Nova still has that beat drop, they're actually probably going to commit that in that area. So really, that EMP means jack squat.
Yeah, it really does. As we saw Nova just sort of come from the top rope. I don't even know where they were, just to hit the beat drop. But yeah, this map just looked like it was Hammerheads from the beginning.
Yeah, well, we've kind of seen glimmers of hope for Thunderduckies, and I think that's been the story so far, is that they've shown signs of brilliance, but Hammerhead, they are just absolutely an oppressive team over Thunderduckies. Every which way, they're just a step ahead.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Hammerhead just looked like the team to beat in this game, and so far Thunderduckies has not been able to.
Ooh, yummy Mac with that Kiriko play of the game. You don't see too much of that as well. Supports, they don't do too much damage, but that is exactly where Kiriko wants to be in that situation. So 3-0, we've got one more on the horizon as we do the final 4, especially for map differential, as we will be finishing that, I believe, with playoffs. We do, it is winner takes all, so no reason to map differential. As map 4, I think this is Thunderduckies' best spot to actually win one, but it doesn't really mean anything, especially this late in the season.
Yeah, it really doesn't, especially with map 4 being that sort of, I don't want to say holding point, where a lot of teams sort of just are like, okay, cool, we won the game. We don't really care if we win map 4 sometimes. Like, it's going to happen. But this could be a good turning point for Thunderduckies to be like, okay, look at ourselves in. Let's get some more scrim time in. and see what we could do. We had some really good moments. Take away from those good moments and learn from the bad moments that you had. You overextended a little bit too far. You went a little bit too aggressive. Reel those in, like I said before, and who knows? We could be going into a 1-2 sort of matchup in the side side of Thunderduckies.
One thing we didn't actually notice, but I believe everybody definitely picked up on, was the Destined swap in. Like, we saw Stoicism get swapped out and Destined go on in. And it felt like there really wasn't much change. Like, Destin just slotted into that role really well.
It really did. But there's definitely a sort of, I don't want to say like a sort of, there was a little bit of a difference. You could tell maybe like a little bit of Bubbles being a little bit, but you could definitely see that it gave Dax a lot more of opportunities to go in. It wasn't really Stoicism just sort of taking all the kills for themselves, but Dax really just shined in this map, and it just seemed like this was Dax's playground on Route 66.
Yeah, so still just waiting things out, wanting to get everything figured out as well. I believe we are going to have Stoicism actually get swapped in for Destin, but still, once again, trying to get things communicated in between each team. So I think you and I can kind of talk a little bit here, Karma. We are finishing up the Tranquility season. Do you have any personal favorites? We'll talk about the tier that we are in. I believe this is the Discord tier for North America. Do you have any favorites going into the playoff?
Honestly, I don't know. I would have to say, out of everybody that is currently in Discord, I think Chicago Deep Dish is going to win it all. They have looked unbeatable throughout every single game so far. But my favorite personally has to be MI7. I've casted for them in the past a little bit for a few different orgs, but they've always been a little bit of a favorite of mine, especially with them being so closely resembled to the great ML7.
Yeah, the more you cast a team, you kind of get this like connect with them, this bond toward the players. It's like, I've seen you grow up and blossom. Hopefully they'll actually win. As sometimes you just get to cast the teams that unfortunately aren't able to come away with the win. But now I believe we're getting to figure things out. We are going to be going to Coliseum, so that will be an interesting place to head. It is going to be Rome, where you are going to see some teams definitely battle it out there.
Yeah, and Push as well is new to Overwatch 2, as most people know. But it's a very weird sort of playstyle. A lot of people are hoping that they bring back this sort of the 2CP. They're hoping that they make changes with Push. I really like how beautiful these maps look. They look very, very beautiful. And Rome is obviously one place that I think a lot of people have been hoping for a map to come out for a while now, and now they actually have it. I personally wish you were able to go into the Coliseum and not just be right on the outskirts of it, but
PvE,
and also tourism. They're not going to let you in. But
you need to pay those big bucks, those Blizzard $26 skin bundles, and then you can enter the Coliseum.
Yeah, but it's one of those things too where you need to, obviously you push the bot as far as you can.
Yep.
There's a lot of strategy that comes with it too, because it's very much so just a game of tug of war. Words are getting hard. You have to push it to a certain point. You have to stop. You have to know when to fall back, and it's very much so. It's very difficult in some instances, especially with the game only being out for the general public for 3 weeks.
Yeah, so a lot of teams still trying to figure it out. I think it's definitely open to flanks with how open a lot of these push maps are, especially Coliseum. Around the first checkpoint on both sides, it is just chaos when you're trying to fight on that upper bridge, trying to push the bot on the lower area. There's so much that you just can duel with a lot of these teams. As well, now I think, is Esperanza in the map pool? Like, can teams play Esperanza? Okay, so well, I think, yeah, that is, I really like, I found myself really liking Esperanza ever since it kind of came out.
I think out of all of them, I think Esperanza is definitely my favorite personally. Having those sort of dueling high grounds, it seems like, especially around that first point, it makes it so it's not. This is gonna sound dumb because it's very symmetrical. All the push maps are, but it feels like it's much more even with having both those high grounds right there. Whereas with like Coliseum and New Queen Street, you can have teams sort of hide behind the pillars, hide behind this natural cover, and sort of get picks. Whereas with Esperanza, it's very much so very open and very sort of dome-like. It seems like.
Yeah, there does feel like there's just something different about that map. that kind of makes it excel compared to Coliseo and New Queen Street. But we're not in Portugal. We are in Rome, as you mentioned. And when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do, and you duke it out to that bot. I'm glad we're not. I'm glad we're not in Jotes, where we're not gonna have a 2-minute like setup before we actually get into the fight. As we get a. Oh, just you mentioned how pretty these maps were, man. Mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah, you don't even look out. You don't even look out here half the time because of how big the map is. But we do see some swaps come back in. Obviously, as you talked about, Stoicism is back in for the side of Hammerheads. But we do see Bubble Wyatt coming in for the side of Thunderduckies to play that sort of Sombra, maybe get a little bit of a break for Bruin.
Yeah, as well as Rick. So there are going to be some changes as Bubba Wyatt just gets this one kicked off. It is a kill onto Taco, as now Dax is just going to keep right-clicking Genji. Their attack speed is so quick, and if you find headshots, well, Luna isn't going to be able to last much longer. It is a quick 5v5 recontest, as now you are going to be able to have some players from the side of Hammerheads rejoin, able to push that bot, and that small lead that Thunderduckies were able to get should be able to get diminished, as now we're going to see those ults start to build up, and I think that might tell the story. But Nova getting punished, that could really start to change the sides, but we're back at a 4v4, and there it is. Taco's going to try to go for a flank, and it might be able to do much, might change things around for the better, but they're all alone on the point. They've got some help with the Kiriko, and just like that, it is going to be Taco. It is going to be Yummy Mac, just like that, changing things around.
Yeah, I was going to say losing your Lucio first is never a good thing, but Taco's just proving me wrong, I guess. You lose your Lucio first every single fight. Who cares?
Well, I wouldn't say to take that advice.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Don't. Please don't. Please, Lucios, don't feed in my game. Don't feed in my games, please. I want to climb. I want to get out of Diamond.
Taco, the Reaper isn't a hero that you usually see forced on, and well, it might be for those reasons. Sometimes you can just be an absolute squish ball, as Luna doesn't survive, isn't even able to actually enter Wraith form, and well, it seems that Hammerheads are sniffing Thunderduckies spawn.
You gotta touch the spawn. That's always the goal in each game that you play. You have to touch the spawn of the enemy team. But I think Taco's just being like, okay, I think I know I'm better. I'm just gonna press W and just see what you guys can do about it.
It's going up from I think I know I'm better to I know that I am better.
Yeah. Basically, it's getting to that point right now.
All right. Well, there's a large lead right now that could start to get chipped away now that Nova is gone, but we have seen fights where Nova dropped early and it really didn't change things around, especially just a great retreat coming out here from Hammerheads. It allows Nova to have to come all the way back from spawn. They did not get that checkpoint, but already they are able to actually engage in a fight just before the robot pushes on. The grab is going to be able to grab Taco, but the immortality field, the Wraith is keeping them alive, but not for long. Here comes the blade. Nope. Dax actually keeps it in its sheath, but the damage is not going to be able to be survived. And now the beat drop from Nova's side will allow the rest of Hammerheads to actually push Thunderduckies back. And now they will just regain control of that bot.
Yeah, and especially, like you talked about before, that backup from the side of Hammerheads was really, really good, especially with how fast Lucio can get back.
Yeah, so it is really tug-of-war right now. Like, I think that is the best way to describe this. Eventually, Hammerheads have to back off. The bot is going to be pushed, but it's still just so slight.
Yeah, it very is, especially with having to round this first corner. A lot of people don't talk about it, but it is one of the tougher corners to hold.
Oh, here comes Dax. Actually gets 2-3 slashes and just ends up killing that immortality field. So next to nothing comes of that blade. And now Thunderduckies can push on forward. Unfortunately, Luna isn't going to be part of that push, but I think they're definitely happy that their teammates come away with that victory. Sleepy G commits the amplification matrix and Nova survives. Oh no. We thought this was going good.
Yeah, again, like I said, you just had those little bit mistakes. But no, yeah, Sleepy G used the amplification matrix, which seems unfortunate, but at the same time, you gain it so fast, especially in both Overwatch 1 and 2, that he'll have it back in a matter of seconds, it seems like.
Yeah, but I think momentum is a huge thing here because now Hammerhead's going to be able to regain control of the bot because you have Sleepy G gone, but potentially this grab turns things around. Is there enough damage to burst through it? It's a 3v3 on both sides, but eventually it is Hammerheads that are actually able to get control of the bot. They have Nova as just the slight amount of heals as the robot actually doesn't heal you like the payload is, so there is a little bit more reliance on Nova as Glimpse is staggered massively.
Yeah, Glimpse is coming back right now. But again, Lucio, very, very fast, can wall ride it. But Taco falls, which is going to be very, very difficult for the side of Hammerheads. They have to back all the way back up again because obviously Taco was very, very low HP, and instead of just trying to grab a health back, just was like, I'm just going to move the back as far as I can.
That was an assassination. I think that's the best way to describe that. Taco was just gone from the get-go. As well, there's a lot of ultimates as Stoicism is going to commit them. And while the Blossom is actually used to wonderful success, it's 3 that fall on the side of Thunderduckies with Stoicism just cleaning up the 2. And I think that's about as clean a fight as you can get. And that's going to allow a huge push coming out from Hammerhead.
Yeah, I think with this, too, they should be able to get the checkpoint, which a lot of people have been calling the butt scratch mode because he has a little animation. But with having that point there, it's going to be very, very difficult for Hammerhead to do it as they use the EMP.
Yeah, Bubba Wyatt actually contests just before the checkpoint is initiated. So now they might be able to lose a fight and actually not lose that much ground. Glimpse commits the bead drop, but there isn't much ultimates that they can really springboard off of. Meanwhile, Hammerheads, they actually have that Kitsune rush that they can use to really burst their damage forward. So Glimpse, they can roll around the cart all they want, around the bot, excuse me, but they're still not going to be able to survive. So the checkpoint will actually be hit. And now the time, I don't know for sure, might be 5-10 seconds. It will go forward, and now Bubba Wyatt can contest and just keep the bot from going forward. That is the thing, is now the lead is really going to start to extend.
Yeah, especially having those forward spawns too. As soon as they do start to have it back up, it's going to be very, very rough for Thunderduckies to be able to contest again.
One good thing that I've kind of seen from Thunderduckies is they've actually been able to shut down Dax a little bit more. Those blades just haven't been as effective with the combo of the Immo Field, the combo of the bubbles. I mean, they can shut down the blade. Shutting down the right click and those dashes, I think, is another thing.
Yeah, it really is, especially with how fast the right clicks are. And just basically, you can one click, you can dash and right click somebody and they're dead immediately, especially with a 200 HP target if you're able to hit all 3.
Sure, all the Anas in the world are crying out, knowing the pain of that as well. Taco's going to be able to get that Death Blossom, but Luna has it as well. Who is going to press the trigger first, as the bot is going to be contested so far? Stoicism actually ends their own life, as Taco will try to actually bounce back. They do get a kill on the Glimpse, and the self-heal will actually allow them to kill Rick as well. Luna just changes things around. They win the Reaper 1v1, turn on to Dax, and with the help of Bubba, they turn that bot around and try to push their own barricade, but they have a lot of meterage to go.
Yeah, and they really do. And on the side of Hammerheads, they can recontest before they lose that sort of early checkpoint, because it has to go back to the middle to be able to do it. And it looks like the Thunderducks are just going to keep them having it, so they have to win this fight before they can get rid of the early spawn point.
Oh my, what a grab coming out from Rick, and there's no beat drop from Glimpse to really do anything. So now you're going to see Nova, who doesn't have that beat drop as well. Thunderduckies can continue pushing on forward. Dax doesn't have the deflector. They did at the last second, but it doesn't save them from the inevitable black void that is that death. So Thunderduckies, a wonderful grab coming out from Rick. Sleepy G does commit the Ant Matrix, but overall they still are able to grab that EMP, and I think that's the one thing that they can hold on to.
Yeah, and Thick Boy Rick is actually going to maybe die here? Oh, yeah. But, yeah, Hammerhead's target focus is really good. But Bubba Wyatt having that EMP is going to be almost like a fight win, it seems like, in most instances, especially if Nova isn't able to get the beat off afterwards.
I think the one thing, though, is that Thunderduckies haven't been able to push. Like, even, like, slightly, like, maybe 5-10 meters, Hammerheads are always keeping them away from the barricade.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think a lot of people are annoyed at with this mode, especially if you get it very, very far in a push. It's very, very difficult for the losing team to come back and actually win.
Well, a win is needed for sure as Bubba Wyatt has the EMP. They do commit it, and now we're just going to start to burst away. Dax stays alive for now, but eventually will get killed by Luna, who can just continue to press forward. They have a massive amount of damage in those Hellfire shotguns, but they are going to pay for potentially being a little too forward without the heals to back it up. Glimpse has the beach rob, but there really isn't a good time to actually use it, as Sleepy G has to back off. Glimpse has to back up, but here comes Taco teleporting right on in, wanting to push this team back into the spawn and push forward the lead to potentially 100 meters, potentially even the end of the map.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very tough for Thunderduckies to hold the entire time.
Taco does go spin to win with that beach drop as we're actually getting the dueling beach drops. Here goes Dax. They've gotten 1 or 2 each time. Here goes one, punishing Sleepy G just for existing in that current moment. But now, as Hammerheads, they get 1. Here comes that Death Blossom. Luna gets 2 in this current escapade. And now we're staying alive for now. Overtime, it's going to be about 80 meters that Hammerheads will have to stop. And, well, all they need is 1 fight.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very rough for Hammerhead or for Thunderduckies because they still have that early spawn. So they're going to be back and they're going to take a fight hopefully before the midpoint. So if they do lose that fight, they could just respawn right back again.
The odds are not Thunderduckies' favor. We are going to get, the body is going to get stopped right before the checkpoint, so there is going to be a fight, but Nova is going to be the one to really die off the bat. This is how the map got started. Well, Thick Boy Rick is able to get a second. There's going to have to be more to really claim this fight for sure, and losing members like that isn't really a way to go about it. A grab is committed by Rick, but it's a risky one at that because now you can't really commit that for future fights. Dax goes down, so the bot will go across the middle. It means that Dax's stoicism will going at the far spawn room, so it's not over yet.
Oh, yummy. That's a big pick for the side of Hammerheads.
And there's no checkpoint as well, so it's going to be a long trek back. And if Taco can survive, they will, along with that Suzu Bell. Wilbur survive, they don't. And now with Stoicism's grab, I think it's safe to say that the book has ended. The chapter has been written, and it will die with Luna. And there it is. Moira, well, just a little contest wanting to say her last few words, but there it is, a 4-0 coming out from Hammerheads. And it seemed like they just were in control the entire time, no matter who was on the roster.
Yeah, it really did look like it was just Hammerhead's match to lose, and it didn't look like... Thunderduckies did have some great moments. I'm going to keep on saying that. Even though they did lose 4-0, they had some really good moments. Like, Luna just popping off during Midtown, Sleepy G popping off. But at the end of the day, Hammerhead just is the better team, and we can't deny it.
Yeah, Stoicism did a great job at being Zarya, soaking that damage and just absolutely obliterating your opponents with your high charge beam. So, Zarya, she's strong, but for how long, I think, is the question. So a clean 4-0 from Hammerheads. They do secure the 3rd seed. With Thunderduckies, they did make the playoffs, correct?
Yeah. They did. I believe they are the almost... They will be the 8th seed as we get here from production. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle. They lose 1, they're out. So whereas with Hammerhead, it looks like that they will be in the upper bracket. They'll be the 3rd seed, it seems like. So they can lose 1. They can't lose 2, though. So.
Yeah, so a little bit more pressure on them as Hammerheads get a little bit of an easier ride, potentially to the finals. But like you said, your favorite is Chicago Deep Dish. Hammerhead might have to play them in the playoffs. We'll see. But that is the end of this game of Hammerheads versus Thunderduckies. And it might be the end of the regular season. Yeah, it's the end of the stage. This is the last regular season broadcast that we have, Karma, and you and I had the pleasure of casting it.
Yeah, and it's always fun to come back and cast. I haven't been able to for a while. I've been back for the last few weeks, but it's always fun. It's always fun to see new teams duel it out, especially in a brand new game where there's a lot that changed. There's a lot of different metas that have come out. There's been a lot of rock paper scissors, which I miss playing those sort of rock paper scissors games. It's just been fun. Can't complain.
Of course, it was wonderful as well to be with you tonight. So we have to, of course, have to thank our producer and observer Booth, the wonderful man himself. So now we are going to be headed to the end screen, the good night as well. We're getting a little bit late, 10:30 at least Eastern Standard Time. So we hope that every one of you viewers has a wonderful night, a great night's sleep, and we will see you all in the next broadcast.
you